Hey guys, before we get into this week's movie club, just wanted to remind you that if you like the dynamic between me and Pat, and who wouldn't, Pat is so great on these, I would love for you to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Radio Mike. If you get something out of this pod or any of my content each week, consider just contributing the same way you pay for a Netflix subscription, the same way you pay for a Spotify subscription. If this content is part of your week, your month, your year, I'd love for you to join up. There's heaps of bonus content up there, so please consider doing that. Anyway, let's get into Movie Club. And action! Welcome to Pat and Mike's Movie Club. Pat, welcome back to the director's suite.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here. However, I am noticing that the popcorn machine is broken, and as per my contract to be on the show, which was a very generous offer, which you could compare with, the big TV hosts on Australian breakfast radio.
What?
Yeah, well,
Who's
obviously
the big TV? Who is that?
Like your David Kosh's and stuff.
Wait, you just said the big TV hosts on Australian breakfast radio.
Oh,
yeah, it was really
okay.
confusing
all right,
for
the
everyone.
joke
listening.
I've probably put off all the listeners, and I'm sorry. The joke I was trying to get at was I have this big salary, and in my contract, the popcorn machine in the room needs to be working, and there's no popcorn, so I was going to threaten to walk out.
Well, we'll have it by next week.
Okay,
next month, rather.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Speaking of walking out, a movie that didn't make me want to walk out and I was shockingly glued to the whole time was, you know what? It might rhyme with prunk, junch, love.
Well, that's so funny because we're doing Punch Drunk Love for this month's movie club.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, should we get into it?
You know what? I think we should.
Let's do it.
I wanted to ask you something because you're a doctor, right?
Yeah.
I don't like myself sometimes. Can you help me?
Barry, I'm a dentist.
Hi, this is Georgia.
This is Barry Egan.
So what do you do, Barry?
I have my own business. We have a non-breakable handle. Let me demonstrate for you.
You're married, aren't
All right, Pat, this month's movie is Punch Drunk Love. It is directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who also directed films like There Will Be Blood and Licorice Pizza.
That is true.
The slogan or the tagline for the movie is "You can go to places in the world with pudding." The description: a socially awkward and volatile small business owner meets the love of his life after being threatened by a gang of scammers. It stars Adam Sandler, Emily Watson, and Philip Seymour Hoffman. Pat, what'd you think of Punch Drunk Love?
Well, there was definitely pretty much all of that was in the title except for being drunk. I didn't see any of that, but
Yeah, true.
There was punching and there was love.
Was there any? There was almost no alcohol probably consumed in the whole film.
Yeah, those anti-alcohol folks would probably be stoked with the film despite its title. But no, in all seriousness, I went into this pretty blind. I didn't have any preconceived idea.
Punch Blind Love.
No, not wrong. He's got me there, ladies and gentlemen. He's good with words. No, my only pre-understood idea, I don't know if that's a word, but yeah, the only thing I was familiar with was the poster or not the actual film poster, but I think the Netflix tile I'd seen where you see the side profile of Adam Sandler and he's kind of in the dark, which he's kind of like that the whole film. He's far away and you see his side profile and he's in the dark, oddly enough.
Yeah, I guess that's a good place to start with this movie because have you seen any of the director's other work?
I've only seen Licorice Pizza,
Same.
which I definitely enjoyed, but
I thought it was weird. It's about a girl and a 16-year-old or something that hook up.
Yeah,
I thought it was really weird.
Yeah, a little bit. But no, I was very intrigued because obviously Adam Sandler being known for comedy,
Yes.
Obviously iconic roles such as, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore,
Big Daddy, Click was a great. The Click was actually after this.
I love Click.
But I guess
Can we do Click next month? No, we won't do Click.
Wedding Singer, all of these Adam Sandler movies that this is the thing because the only thing I came in with, obviously I knew the poster like you, but I knew it was a movie featuring Adam Sandler that wasn't a typical Sandler-esque role.
Yeah.
Obviously, in all those movies that we've said, and Adam Sandler is often mocked and known as kind of just like a guy who makes dumb, funny-ish movies, but
Yeah.
he's never like really acclaimed as an actor, I guess. Like, do you know what I mean?
100%. I think most people, when like they hear the words Adam Sandler uttered, they think, oh, the funny guy.
Yeah, and they might even roll their eyes like, yeah, Adam Sandler. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Like movies like Grown Ups and I don't know. Like, well, I gotta say, first off though, I've always loved Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
When I was a kid growing up, I'm telling you, Big Daddy used to be on free-to-air TV like, I swear, like 3 or 4 times a year on a
Really?
Saturday night. And I loved that movie.
That's crazy.
And I always thought Adam Sandler was great. Like, what's your favorite Sandler flick?
Little Nicky. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah. That's,
No, I've never
that's meant
seen
to
that
be pretty
movie.
bad.
Quentin Tarantino's in that movie. He plays like a weird possessed pastor or something.
Is that the one where Adam Sandler's parents are Satan and God or something? Or
Yeah, something like
something
that.
like that, yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know. I've only seen a handful of his films once or twice. Like if you had to punch me, or whatever, I don't know. I'd probably say Click is probably my closest.
Yeah.
Or The First Grown Ups, despite it not aging super well.
I would probably say Click, and then Big Daddy, and then 50 First Dates as well. I always really
yes.
liked. But yeah, I think the thing with him and especially at this time, 2002, this film was released.
Oh yeah, it was.
It wasn't particularly like Adam Sandler wasn't known as a serious actor.
No.
And he portrays a character in this film that is very different to all of his characters, and you kind of get a glimpse at his range as an actor, I guess.
100%. I guess the one thing I took away from this movie is that him being in the movie is almost like a statement in itself of like, yes, I know that you know me predominantly for my comedy, but by being in this movie, I'm saying I believe in the director and, you know, the script and the story, but also it's a statement of, hey, I can do way more. Oh, and yeah, I've got a bigger range than just comedy. Oh, another gem as well. Oh, no pun intended, but Uncut Gems is also a good one.
When Uncut Gems came out, I remember everyone having essentially this reaction to it.
Yeah.
Like, wow, Adam Sandler can play like not stupid comedy. He can play like legitimate roles. And
100%.
are there any actors like that recently that you'd say have had like a bit of a switcheroo in that sense?
That's a good
I don't
question.
know if they call it a switcheroo in the industry.
Comedic switcheroo. Like the only other people I can think of is actually I can't think of many. I know there definitely are. It's just like it's escaping me at this moment. The closest I can think of, and it doesn't really count because it was still a comedic role, but I thought Bill Burr in
Mandalorian?
in King of Staten Island, even though
Okay.
it was a comedic role, and obviously that's predominantly why he was there. I felt like he still accurately portrayed because he plays this homeless firefighter,
Right.
But like even though his character was comedic, like he still had heart, and you saw his backstory, and it just proved like he could act well.
Yeah, another one that comes to my mind that is similar-ish, I reckon, is Jim Carrey in The Truman Show.
Oh, 100%.
Because I put Jim Carrey and Adam Sandler in a similar ilk in that they were like goofy comedy guys, and then Truman Show was such a profound role that
100%.
It wasn't really a comedy role, but
No.
I think Jim Carrey's versatility allowed him to play that character so convincingly.
Definitely. He was also in a Showtime series called Kidding, which I really highly recommend. It only went for 2 seasons, but that was a serious role. Really similar to Punch Drunk Love in terms of that comedic performance. Or sorry, not the comedic performance, the like serious performance. He plays like a Mr. Rogers type TV presenter, but there's all this drama behind the scenes with his family
Right.
and everything. It's like a really good show.
It's kind of what I just thought of is like, you know who has never done this kind of thing?
Who would that be?
Jerry Seinfeld. It's like if Jerry Seinfeld came out and was like, I'm doing like a serious role in a serious movie, like he never would do that, right?
That's so true.
And like his new movie Unfrosted is like an example of him just never going to not be a goofy dude.
Oh, he
doing
has to
goofy
be.
movies. Like it would be remarkable to get an Uncut Gems Jerry Seinfeld as the lead actor, I reckon.
That would be insane. I'd probably eat my left shoe just from hearing that.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, Adam Sandler in this role plays this character. I think his name's is it Barry? I think
Yes.
it's Barry.
Yes, Barry.
And he is like this really socially awkward, socially awkward guy with 6 or 7 sisters.
Yeah.
All of whom are like really mean to him.
Very cynical towards him.
Like you get the vibe he might have been the youngest sibling in the family.
Yeah,
I don't think
true.
that's confirmed, but they
Definitely an outcast type.
And there's this really funny bit in the movie where he goes for like one of his sister's birthdays to their house, and there's all the sisters are there, and you hear them, and they're like, "Remember when we were kids, we used to call Barry gay boy, and he used to get so upset about it." It's like, yeah. And then Barry walks in and it's like, "Hey, remember when we used to call you gay boy? You got so upset about it?"
And the best part of that scene too is you see him walk in, and just as he hears them talking about it, he walks back out thinking, okay, now I have to find the right window to step in.
Yeah.
And even after he's went to all that effort, they still say to him, hey, we used to call you gay boy.
Yeah. It's so funny, and they just don't understand why that would upset a kid. Like, obviously,
100%.
Yeah. And I think so much happens in this movie so quickly. Like, it's only a 90-minute film, which we love. That's the ideal movie length.
100%.
And I think one thing I really notice, and there's so much I want to talk about, but like the music really helps drive it along. Like the music is it actually reminded me kind of the music in Birdman. Like it's just very like chugging, and like the thing with Birdman is it's filmed to look like one shot. Like there's no actual cuts, but like there obviously was, but they kind of they kind of blur it so it looks like one continuous shot.
Yeah.
But in this, like that music that's just kind of like in the background, almost like really fast, jazzy kind of style music.
Yeah, it kind of like it invokes the emotion of what the character is feeling.
Yeah, and it also invokes just like, because particularly at the start, there's just all this stuff going on. He's at his work. His sister's coming in asking him to date her friend.
Yeah.
And like all this stuff is happening, and it's just like the music just keeps going throughout it all. And it just, it's like, it's slightly intense. It's like hustling and bustling, like city kind of vibes in this small area. I don't know. It's just interesting.
No, 100%.
And I guess as it goes on, you kind of learn more about it. It's deeper than him just having social anxiety.
Yeah, definitely.
Because at the party at his sister's house, he basically has this breakdown and smashes all the windows. Like, it's almost like, it reminded me a bit of American Psycho, how there's kind of like this normal guy, but then he just unleashes into these fits of rage. And that's what Adam Sandler's character does. Like, he's this really shy, small guy, and then he gets angry and just smashes 4 windows in a row to smithereens.
Yeah, no, well, I guess maybe even though there's no drink, I guess punch drunk is the saying of like, oh, somebody just goes punches on.
True.
So, although he did kick it, so, you know.
Oh, he kicked it, sorry.
Yeah, they didn't call it bloody kick
drunk love.
Yeah. No, you could definitely see this was a man who didn't really know how to process his emotions and like, I guess gave the same vibe as, say, you know, someone on the spectrum.
Oh, yeah. You do get a bit of that, I think.
Yeah, or at least just someone who just isn't as socially inept. Like, not in the punch drunk way, but like, I could definitely see a lot of like my younger self in that character.
I could too. And myself.
Yeah, just like being awkwardly anxious, like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and just not knowing how to approach certain situations. And that's why when I finished, I was like, oh, that was interesting. I was like, I wonder if Pat will feel the same way as me and like relate to this
I was thinking
guy.
that too.
Yeah, because then after he smashes the windows, which like is a really like big deal. Like if you did that at my house, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
But he just kind of like casually apologizes and then breaks down to his sister's husband.
Yeah.
And then you get this really like profound moment where he says that like sometimes I get sad and don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I can't talk to people. And then he just breaks down and cries.
Yeah, essentially.
And it's like this insight into this character that you don't even like, it never really even circles hugely back to it. It's just, I don't know. I thought it was very subtle.
It is subtle. I guess maybe in a way, you know, his brother-in-law kind of just hears it, you know, I guess haphazardly just in that one moment. I guess maybe that's meant to carry on into how we feel. Like we only witness it in that one moment, and even though it's not really acknowledged except for a moment where the wife comes in and says, hey, did you ask him for a shrink? You know, it's like, I think it's meant to hone in just like, because this movie's very awkward. Like the very first scene is you see him at his desk, then he goes outside, and then it's the same thing. He's inside, then he goes back outside. And I was thinking, is this going to be the whole movie?
And then a woman asks him if she can park her car outside, and he'll keep an eye on it. And he's like, oh, yeah, I guess I can. And I guess that leads us to one of the biggest plot drivers for the film is he ends up calling like a sex hotline, like a dirty talk kind of hotline, which I don't know do they even exist in the world of porn? Like,
I mean, surely they would, but like, actually, can I just go on a super quick tangent?
Yeah.
Do you think AI will kill the sex hotline?
I think porn already did, but yeah. Did you have anything else to say? Or
No, that's just the only question.
I think that he calls this sex hotline, and what you realize, and he does it, and he says, I want this all confidential. I don't want anyone to know my name and stuff. And then really he's only calling them for some kind of companionship.
Oh, 100%.
Like, he doesn't actually want to have like a sexual conversation, which this woman keeps trying to do, which is her job. He just he just wants to talk to someone.
Yeah.
Because he can't find a girlfriend, and he has no real friends, and like he's just trying to talk about his life with this woman on the phone.
Yeah, definitely. It like I definitely got the sense of, someone who just, oh, look, I want some companionship, but I don't know how to get it. Let's just go to this line.
Yeah. And I think that's maybe some people see like sex workers for the same thing. You know how like there's like the girlfriend experience kind of
or you
vibe?
can like meet people just to like hug or whatever.
Yeah, because people he's yearning for this companionship but has absolutely no social skills in order to do it. And then that spirals into he tells her he has a girlfriend. He tells the sex worker he has a girlfriend. And then she calls him back the next day and essentially asks him for money. Yeah. And he says, I don't have money. And he's very polite about it. He's like, I actually don't have enough money to give you money. Otherwise I would.
Yeah.
And she said, well, maybe I'll call your girlfriend and tell her that you called me. And he's like, oh, I don't have a girlfriend. Yeah. I made that up. And then basically she starts threatening him.
Yes.
And that kind of triggers the rest of the film.
Yeah, it definitely sets an uncomfortable tone.
Yeah.
That you feel not only as an audience member, but within Barry.
Yeah, it is very uncomfortable because he's essentially being blackmailed.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I watched this movie close to midnight and I remember thinking, oh God, am I going to have like nightmares from watching this?
It's actually really sad because like we said, he's going to this to get companionship.
Yeah.
And then his attempt of getting companionship results in him being blackmailed. And anyway, this phone sex hotline is part of this more kind of syndicate kind of people scamming people into stealing their money.
Yeah.
And she gets her crew onto him and they come and find him at his house and they essentially force him to get money out. And you just feel terrible because all he wanted was companionship and now he's just being blackmailed and scammed and forced to give money.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm getting into it a little too early, but, as later said in the film by people in that party, that's what you get for being a pervert.
Yeah, true. Yeah, they then try to make him feel bad. And it's like...
Try to shame him.
When you think about it from his perspective, it's like, okay, I did something to try and make friends or to just have someone in my life, and this is the result.
Like, he just gets punched back in his hole.
Yeah, punched, drunk, loved. Punched, drunk, back.
Punched, drunk, loved.
Yeah. And so the kind of other plot that starts intersecting with him being chased by these guys who are trying to steal his money is his sister is trying to set him up with her friend.
Yes. And I didn't think we'd see much of this at all throughout the film. I thought it was going to be just a one-note thing to show him that, like, oh, they're trying to get him with someone, but then we'll never hear from that person again.
Yeah.
I was surprised that it developed in the way it did.
Really? You didn't think the love part of Punch Drunk Love would become relevant?
I mean, again, I didn't know what to walk into, so all I knew was it was Adam Sandler on a wall in his dark. So.
Yeah, anything could have happened. Yeah, but like she kind of becomes obsessed with him, and even though he keeps using excuses like, oh, I don't want a girlfriend, I don't have time for a girlfriend, I've got so much work, blah, blah, blah. He kind of starts to like let her in and they start going on dates and they start like enjoying. And that's if you listen to the slogan of the film, which was about how pudding can get you really far.
Yeah.
So basically you see in his office he has like all of these microwave puddings.
Yeah.
And the girlfriend actually says, "Oh, like how much do you sell the pudding for?" And he said, "No. The pudding's not a product." And it turns out he has like this loophole that if you buy the pudding, you can get frequent flyer miles at like a really high rate. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm saving them up. So if I ever need a flight, I just buy the pudding to redeem the frequent flyer miles."
Yeah, how good is that? And I read the trivia for the film. It turns out the main inspiration for the film was actually, I believe the director read in a magazine a story of someone doing this exact thing. And and then he just integrated it into his own film.
Basically like scamming the system. And
Exactly.
So she is going to Hawaii and she keeps asking him to come to Hawaii, but he's like, "Oh yeah, maybe." And he's sort of like interested in her, but it's almost like he doesn't want to let her in.
Yeah.
Like, his social anxiety is so afraid of being hurt. Like all of us, he's so
100%.
afraid of being hurt. He doesn't want to let anyone in.
You definitely feel that vulnerability.
Yeah. And I think I can't actually remember because he does end up going, but what is the kind of catalyst of him deciding to go to Hawaii to meet her?
You know, that moment kind of reminded me of The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, where because if you're unfamiliar, in that film, so Ben Stiller's character works in a magazine archive in this movie, and you see him kind of wanting to make this connection with another worker, but he's very resistant and anxious, and until eventually the whole movie is just him going to live a life and going overseas and just doing a bunch of crazy shit.
Iconic use of the David Bowie song Space Oddity in that film.
Yeah, really great
Ground
use.
control to Major Tom. Very good, yep.
Yeah, and I definitely saw that. I guess it's just that thing that it just clicked for him, you know? I guess like we kind of saw him slowly creep out, because I guess for him, I assume this character isn't just as easy as like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do that." You know, it needs to build up, and I guess this was what, you know, shook the bottle.
Yeah. But also, I just remembered as well, doesn't he have like the guys who are trying to get his money are still chasing after him? So he's like, I'm going to go to Hawaii. I'm going to Hawaii. And then he goes to Hawaii and like is falling in love with this woman, like falling very hard in love.
Yeah.
And then they go back to, I guess, wherever they're from in the US after Hawaii, after falling in love and having an amazing
Was it
time.
California, Utah?
Yeah, let's say California.
Yeah.
That makes the most sense. And on the way back from the airport, they get kind of, I guess, attacked by these guys.
Yes. So we see Barry drive Lena home, and then obviously they get T-boned by the people who are after him. And strangely enough, you see him go out of his car with a crowbar. And I don't know about you, Mike, I didn't know if that actually happened for real, because practically I can understand he'd be prepared for it, because at this point in the film he'd already dealt with them and been attacked. But I kind of saw it as a bit of like a self like
are you saying you think like it was his imagination doing that?
Totally.
I got that a little bit throughout as well, because the movie is kind of abstract. There's these points where it kind of like, if it's changing scenes, it'll just have some like lights come up and you'll hear conversation and music and stuff.
Yes.
Which was a weird, like unique way of like scene transitioning, I guess. And sometimes even when he kicks the windows in at the start, which we already talked about, I was like, did that actually happen? Or is that like we're almost seeing, and maybe you're supposed to interpret it that way as well.
Yeah,
like,
it definitely, it's giving the kind of thing where it's like, you know, up to your own interpretation.
Yeah, and you're right. When they T-bone the car at the end and he has the crowbar, like the tone shift is so sudden, right?
Yeah.
And I felt the same way with the kicking of the windows in, because like he's such this shy, as I said, like this shy, small person, and then suddenly it like erupts out of him and like you see it and you're like, oh, that's almost unbelievable that happened.
No, it was very surreal.
Yeah, and then because what else did you think with the like what else made you think that it was like abstract and maybe in his mind?
I don't know. I guess it was just too perfect, because he pretty much fucked up everyone, you know, fucked them up good. And like I said, I can definitely understand, because it was the second time he'd been attacked, you know, that he would come prepared. But I don't know. I guess just knowing his character, like when he went to Hawaii to go meet Lena, he put his hand out to shake her hand. Like obviously a very awkward guy, you know, like, oh, this girl I'm falling for, even though we've like kissed and stuff, I'm just going to still
Shake
shake
her
her
hand,
hand. Yeah. So he hadn't, I guess mentally, he hadn't earned that role or that kind of, he hadn't earned that mental trust of, oh, this guy can fuck anyone up like Superman.
Yeah. And that's kind of also why it reminded me of American Psycho because like, again, it's just like in American Psycho, there's that famous scene where he talks about Huey Lewis in the news.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you like Huey Lewis in the news?
Yeah. And while he puts the song on, It's Hip to Be Square, and he's explaining it and stuff. And then he just like
Jared Leto. Christian Bale killed Jared Leto. Batman killed the Joker.
It's just like the juxtaposition between him talking about how much he loves this song and why it's such a good song and why it's so important to the band's history. And then he just murders this person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then again, it's like that abstract weirdness of it that I felt with Adam Sandler in this. And then Lena ends up in hospital because she's attacked, and he basically leaves her in hospital to go to the source, like to the head of this syndicate.
Yeah.
And basically threaten him and fuck him up.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was expecting him to get even more fucked up.
As in Adam Sandler's character.
Sorry,
Barry.
as in Philip Seymour Hoffman's character,
True,
who's the
because-
ringleader of all this.
Yeah, so Philip Seymour Hoffman he looks very scruffy in this movie, don't you reckon? But I
100%.
guess he always kind of does. And Adam Sandler basically just threatens him. Does he? He doesn't even really like attack him or anything.
No, it was a very awkward interaction. You know, he'd come all this way. I believe the mattress store was in Utah, and he traveled from California.
Yes, he drove all the way to Utah. That's what they said. Yeah.
And you see him walking. He's even holding his phone too, almost, which to me was it almost represented, you know, that he'd, you know, the phone when he was stuck on the wall, you know, it's like it was him stuck to himself, but him taking the phone with him is him kind of going out of his shell. Like, I can do this. I'm not just stuck at home behind a telephone.
True. Yeah.
know?
No, I agree. And then Philip Seymour Hoffman like kind of gets scared.
Yeah, you see him getting a haircut.
And then then Adam Sandler's character starts walking out, and Philip Seymour Hoffman calls out something to him, like, I can't remember what he says.
That's what you get for being a pervert.
Oh yeah, that's what he says. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Adam Sandler's like, what did I just say? Right. Anyway, then he drives back to be with Lena,
yes.
and like it's sort of like, I guess, a happily ever after kind of thing.
Yes, and then the credits roll with I really liked the use of "He Needs Me," sung by the
I was
wonderful
just about to say
Shelley
that.
Duvall from the Popeye musical.
Is that what it's from?
Yes, the live action Popeye movie with Shelley Duvall and Robin Williams.
So is that Olive Oil that sings that? The
Yes.
character? Okay. It's a really weird song in a way. Like the vocals are very off melody. Like
Yes.
it's out of time, off rhythm maybe. Like it's like, he needs me, he needs me, he needs me. Like it comes
Yes.
off the beat and it feels kind of weird to listen to. It's used in a montage scene as
Yeah,
well.
which is perfect for this movie because it reflects the awkwardness of not just, you know, Barry, but the situation, but also, I guess, you know, the whole, like, you know, he's going, you know, to her because he does need her.
True. So there's like the literal meaning and then the metaphorical
Yeah,
meaning of
100%.
the song. But then also I think on another level, a meta level, the offbeatness of the song and the weirdness of the song is also like the weirdness that the audience feels seeing Adam Sandler in this role.
Yeah.
Because Adam Sandler they know him at the time from Big Daddy and Happy Gilmore
Yeah.
and Billy Madison and Wedding Singer, right?
Yeah.
So there's like three levels there, like the literal, the metaphorical, and then the meta. And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, 100%. No, I didn't expect to like this movie as much as I did. I don't know about you. I think this is probably one of the best ones at the top of the list of everything we've watched so far.
I've heard good things about it, so I did think that I would like it. There is one kind of, I guess, depending on how you look at it, major feature of this movie we haven't even talked about yet.
What haven't we talked about?
The piano.
Oh yeah, very true.
I-
Which wasn't a piano. I think it was like a keyboard, like
Yeah,
a
like a
weird
wooden
70s,
keyboard kind of
80s,
vibe.
like Mellotron thing.
Yeah. Which I guess is at both a significant part and a nothing part of the movie at the same time.
Yeah.
What did you make of it? Like, what does it represent? And explain how he gets it.
Yeah. So you might need to correct me because I don't quite remember how he gets it. I think, doesn't it just get like delivered to him or something?
Yeah.
And it arrives, and I guess it was just kind of, my interpretation was he like, because he just intermittently like, you know, just pressed keys on the piano. Like I don't think he didn't learn.
No, but he does play it.
Yeah, just like hitting random keys and stuff. And I think, I don't know, it was, to me, just like, it felt like something literally just trying to throw on screen to like be like another random thing of like, oh, see, isn't he a weirdo? He just has a piano and doesn't even play it.
I think it's a bit of that, but I think it's supposed to be that he's almost throughout the movie, he always comes back to this piano, right?
Yeah.
And even on the poster, some of the movie posters is him actually playing it. And so I think what it's supposed to be is like, in some ways he's like very attached to the piano, and he's almost like using this relationship with the piano as his like social interaction. Like it's like, I guess when you press the key on the piano, it makes a noise, right? Maybe I'm going too deep into it, but like maybe it's something he feels like he has control over, so he's kind of attached to it. That's why he leans on it and starts playing random keys, because maybe it's something to do with that. That's kind of what I got at. But it does recur a lot throughout the movie, and Lena even asks him about it.
I think a few people ask him about it. I think some of the workers ask him, his sisters ask him.
Yeah. And he doesn't really know what it is. Like we call it a piano. It's not a piano. She says the name of it. It's not a harpsichord, but it's like something, right?
Some weird like, you know, analog instrument.
Yeah. And I think maybe it's even because everyone's asking him about it and he really likes it. Maybe that's representative or metaphorical for like the side of him that comes out. Like,
that's true.
He wants to, you know, he's trying to discover what it is as well.
And he's trying to flourish. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I really enjoyed it. What have we, let's go through what we've done on Movie Club.
All right.
So we did Now You See Me.
Yep.
We did Her.
We did.
We did The Mummy.
The Mummy.
Then we did
Freddy Got Fingered. Greatest movie of all time.
Okay, so now let's rank them.
Oh boy.
So I'm going Her, this, Now You See Me, Freddy Got Fingered, and then The Mummy.
I'm going to say that, but I'm going to swap Freddy Got Fingered and put it a little step up.
Okay. So
that's just because I have too much of an attachment to that film.
Yeah, because you love that movie. I think that's maybe it for Punch Drunk Love. Is there anything else you've thought of?
There was punching.
That is true.
No, it was a good film. Like I said before, when it started, I was like, oh, it's going to be one of these kind of movies. It's going to be weird, and I'm probably going to hate it.
And it is an abstract, absurd
100%. But I ended up loving it.
I was actually going to say one more thing to analyze is the violence that comes out of him suddenly kind of reminded me of like the Hulk or like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde,
Yes.
where there's like another thing inside him that just erupts out.
Yeah,
like
that's
massive
really
Hulk
true.
vibes.
Yeah, true. Well, Hulkamania, brother. I don't know. I didn't have anything else to add.
Well, we'll leave it there. But Pat, do you want to announce next month's movie club to all the listeners?
Yes.
You're choosing next month.
Stepping back into the Spike Jonze catalog, we will be watching Being John Malkovich.
So this will be the second Spike Jonze movie.
Yes, after
Which is
her.
crazy. Well, I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too.
Thank you for jumping into the cinema. We will have popcorn next month.
Thank you.
And Pat.
Cut.
Cut.